I tell you, I have been making huge progress on the bench. I'll give you a little hint there. See if you caught wind of it. It is coming along great, but today I'm getting to a point I've been super excited about for a while, and that's right down in this corner. I have my vise that I've chosen for this bench. So here it is upside down on the corner of my bench, roughly where it's going to go. This is the Vise M7 WW. 7 for a 7-inch jawed vise, and WW for woodworking. This is a fantastic vise from what I can see so far. I don't have a lot of experience with woodworking vises, but I had some strict parameters, and let me show you what we have here. First off, a woodworking vise has these big flat jaws here. It's not like a machinist vise, but it does turn the same way. With a woodworking vise, though, this part here mounts up and underneath your bench, because you need to have this surface actually down below the top of your bench, so for planing you won't strike the steel with your irons. However, we'll show you when we get it set up. We have a dog system, and this is one of the requirements I had for my vise, was to have a dog built into the vise like this, and I'll show you how this works later. So this is the vise completely upside down here now, and remember, this piece of the vise gets bolted to the bottom of the bench. Here are our jaws on the upside. All this will be recessed into the bench. But when you flip this lever, it disengages the treads, and you can move the vise, and you can reset it wherever you let go of the lever here. You can reset it. So if you want to have a big piece of material, instead of having to wind it all the way out, you can just set it out and then tighten it in. So it makes the whole process so much quicker. I love this vise, and I can't wait to get it running on the bench. Now my vise is offset like this because you want it near the side. When I flip this bench over, it's going to be on the left side. So when you approach the vise, it'll be on the left side, and that means I can plane with my right hand along the length of my table, which is perfect. Just how I want it. So this jaw here will be recessed into my bench. So I'm just going to cut that out with my chisel, and I need to go, let me check the depth here, roughly 1 inch further, maybe 3/4 of an inch further down this direction. To start off, I have my 1-inch framing chisel here. That's the start of it. Just finishing up here now. I tell you, I've done so much chiseling in the last couple days. Probably going to be swinging a mallet in my sleep tonight. I'll tell the wife to watch out. So now I have to chisel out this shape here, where I've traced around the vise. This deep. So this should be a lot easier because I'm chiseling with the grain. So I could use my full 2-inch framing chisel here and remove a lot of this really quickly. I probably will switch to a smaller chisel. Easily done here. All the big monumental steps are happening here today. About to bore a pilot hole for my big leg bolts I have. for this vise. Went and got those this morning on some big washers. These are some really big holes here. If you notice the green tape, I've got that as a rough depth stop. There we are. And I've already marked with my bolts where they should be down through. Oh boy, I've been waiting for this step for a while. Got those holes pre-drilled. Here are my leg bolts here that I'm using. Very hefty bolts. Nice big washer. And then I'll be ratcheting these down. You want to drill a pilot hole with bolts this size because you'll probably split your wood all to pieces. So here it is, very heavily bolted. These big leg bolts are cranked down right into the bench, and not a ton of tension on them. I didn't really crank them in too tight. This is softwood. These are really heavy leg bolts, so they'll tear out fairly easily if you go cranking on them. I can haul that vise out its entire length, which is a long way, and it doesn't budge. So here we have our top, which is bottom up, and these legs have been clamped here like this for a couple days. These weren't through tenons, these cross members. These are just probably yay far in, probably 60% through or so. So they're glued in there, super tight. I'm about to take these clamps off. So our pegs will go through this dimension, so straight through here like this. I believe exactly 16 inches to the top of my tenon here. And it goes to 18.5 inches, so that would be 17.25 would be halfway through. So I'll come down here to 17.25. And then I'll mark my halfway across here, and that'll be my exact X point where we'll bore our holes for the tenon. I'll do the same thing on the inside just to make sure I'm precise. So let's see here, 4.5 inches is 2.25, which is right there. So that is my drill point for this peg. So here we have my vintage restored brace loaded up with that 13/16 bit. The bit's pretty sharp. I'm hoping my surface doesn't tear out. Now this is a little bit nerve-wracking for me because these are such nice, beautiful posts, and I really want to get this right. Looking in the camera there to give me an idea of level. Please don't tear out. Nice sharp bit. Have another look in the camera. It's like I'm keeping fairly level, and I can see left and right level from my side here. Starting to poke through already, so I'll just keep it nice and gentle there. What I'm doing now is putting all my tenons through the joints, and I've pre-drilled through the posts, but I haven't drilled the tenons yet. So what I'll do is when when that tenon's in there now, I'll tap my drill bit in so I mark dead center of where the hole should be for the hole. And then it makes drilling for a draw bore quite easy. I'll show you how that works in a second. I tell you, the hardest thing almost, I'd say, about this entire project is test fitting these joints. I'm trying to make them super tight so they hold, but because of that, it takes forever to pound this through tight now so I can mark the hole. Now I have to pull it back out of that mortise so I can drill it out, and man, it's hard work, frustrating. So really, the idea of a draw bore tenon is fairly simple. If you have a hole that I've drilled through my post, where center's here, say, if I drill through my tenon in the same way and put my pin straight through, that's great. That'll create a fairly tight, everything will be locked where it is. The idea of a draw bore is that you make your tenon hole not line up with your original hole. Now this is an extreme example. So when you tap your pin or dowel here, when we tap this through this hole, it'll go through our posts, and when it meets the hole on our tenon, it'll be forced to veer off and capture that tenon and hopefully work its way back into the hole on the other side. You do this a small amount. I'll probably do an eighth of an inch offset because these are larger tenons. Basically, you're using wood's flexible properties in your favor. You also need kind of a rounded nose for this here so that it easily finds its way. If you had a hard edge more like this, it might be more prone to bring up in your tenon and tear something up. So by having a rounded tenon or a rounded pin like this, it should find its way through that offset. Well, here it is, the moment of truth. I'm going to take our time here. I'm not going to rush through this. So these cross members you see here are the ones that are glued in. Now we have post 3 connects post 1. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. So now I just need to find 1 and 3. Okay? So I'll match 1 with 3 here. And then 4 to 2. There are those joint numbers. That's how I know how to match up all my posts. So here is our number 3. My peg holes here, everything is lining up. We'll see how it looks when I get them all together. Let's try my mallet here. This here is my one loose joint. Unfortunate, but that's it. joints are too tight to pound in horizontally like that. So I need to get her up on end. Now I can pound directly on the tenon itself, grab my axe and a block of wood. Now you can see here, now here's the hole for my post, and here is the hole for my tenon. You notice I'm out about 1/8 of an inch. This is exactly what I wanted. Now when this peg drives through here, it should round up through the tenon, back down, and draw this joint so tightly together. Boy, that is rigid. Not a move. It's my first joint, which was really hard to pin. I pounded and pounded. And it's gotten so tight, it's almost like this cross member here is sunk into the leg post a little bit. It's giving me a perfect seam. That's just awesome. Really happy with that. I'll flush cut. That's as far as I could get that pin through. I'm a little bit nervous, or I was a little bit nervous, because some of the material has checks in it like you see here, and they put a lot of pressure, because these drawboards put a lot of pressure on the wood. Especially, I think I should have went with a softer wood peg than this. This is a bit harder wood. I think it's poplar. But yeah. Here we have another joint. This one came out lovely as well. Really rigid, really fine line. I didn't get this peg through quite as far, but far enough. Another good joint here. My work came out well. I'm real proud. Here's a little block of wood here as my guide. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this. I said this is about close to the impossible task here. This vise adds about a little over 20 pounds. Okay. Maybe if I bring this in. I don't think there's any easy way to do this. Okay, that's the hard part done. Whew. That got hard on my ears. I had to put on some muffs. That was tough. Let's have a look. So here we have it. My timber framed workbench. And boy am I happy. Got all those joints. No, there are no metal fasteners in this bench. Only to bolt the vise on. These came through the top beautifully here. These will be flush cut and planed down, of course. Took a lot of pounding to get these through here. And now you can see right where that vise is. And that's right on the side where I'll plane. I'll have a series of dogs going down my bench. Maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe that'll be a future video. But for now, my timber frame workbench is done.